A trail of blood in the ashes. The city was quiet. Too quiet. Smoke still rose from broken buildings. The sky was gray, filled with ash that rained down like snow. Burned ships lay in the streets, twisted and black. Bodies were everywhere, some human, some alien. Eli Voss moved slowly, his legs shaking. He held his side, blood soaking through his shirt. He had been lucky. The last battle had destroyed everything. But somehow, he was still alive. He walked past a fallen wall, his boots crunching over broken glass and stone. The silence felt wrong, not peaceful, not safe. Just empty. Then he heard it. A soft sound. A breath. A cry. He stopped and listened. Again the sound came, very faint, like someone trying not to scream. It was coming from under the rubble. Eli looked around. No one was there. The war had taken them all. He dropped to his knees and started moving the debris, metal panels, stone chunks, burned fabric. And then he saw her. It wasn't a human. A tall, alien woman lay under the wreckage. Her skin was pale gold, marked with strange glowing lines. Her long silver hair was tangled and covered in dust. Blood, silver and shining, ran from a wound in her side. Eli's breath caught in his throat. He had seen her kind before, the Zolari, a powerful alien empire. They had led the attack. They were known for leaving the weak behind. She must have been hurt during the retreat. Her people had abandoned her. But why? He stepped closer. Her eyes opened slowly. Deep violet, sharp, alert, even in pain. They looked at him like he was a puzzle she couldn't solve. "Don't move," she whispered. Her voice was soft, weak. "I'm not here to hurt you," Eli said quietly. "You're hurt. Bad. You are human," she said, her voice breaking. He nodded. She tried to sit up but gasped in pain. Eli knelt beside her and gently touched her shoulder. "Stop, you'll make it worse." "Leave," she said, eyes flashing. "They'll come back, for me." "Who? Your people?" She looked away. Eli looked around. He knew this area well. It used to be a trading district. There was a ruined station nearby that might still offer shelter. He looked back at her. "What's your name?" She didn't answer. "Fine," Eli muttered. "You don't have to trust me, but I'm not leaving you here to die." He slid his arms under her. She was heavier than she looked, tall and strong, even with injuries. She groaned but didn't fight him. Maybe she couldn't. As he stood, he heard something in the distance. A hum. No, not a hum. A drone. He ducked behind a broken wall, holding her close. The drone flew overhead, scanning. Its red lights flashed. Eli held his breath. So did she. Then, silence again. The drone passed. He exhaled. "You see?" he said. "I saved your life already. You owe me." Her lips curved slightly. Not quite a smile, but close. Eli carried her across the street. The ash was thicker now, the sky darker. Every shadow felt dangerous. He moved quickly, avoiding open areas. The ruined station was just ahead. He kicked open the broken door and stepped inside. Old lights flickered. Broken machines hummed softly. He laid her down on a bench and started checking her wound. She watched him. "Why?" she asked. "Why what?" "Why help me?" He shrugged. "You're alive, that's enough. Your kind fears us. Maybe. But I'm not afraid of you." She blinked slowly. Her breathing was shallow. "They left me because I was no longer useful," she said. "My name is Tirani." "Well, Tirani," Eli said, wrapping cloth around her wound. "You've got one person who still thinks you're worth something." She closed her eyes. "Rest," he said. "We'll move again when it's safe." Outside, the wind picked up. Ash blew across the streets like a storm. Eli sat beside her, eyes on the door. Tired. Hurt. But ready. He didn't know who she was. He didn't know what this would cost him. But he wasn't walking away. Not this time. Hunted by fire and steel darkness, settled across the dead city like a second skin. Eli sat beside the broken bench where Tirani lay. Outside, the wind howled through shattered buildings, carrying the sound of something unnatural. It wasn't just the wind. It was colder, heavier, like something was moving through the ash, searching. He tightened the cloth around his arm. The wound from yesterday was worse, but it was nothing compared to what she had suffered. Tirani hadn't spoken in hours. Her silver blood had slowed, but she was pale. Her breaths were short, as if each one hurt more than the last. "You still breathing?" he asked softly. Her eyes opened, faintly glowing in the dim light. "You ask every hour." "Good. It means you're not dead yet." She tried to smile, but even that hurt. Then the lights flickered. Once. Twice. A low hum came from outside. Eli froze. "Drone," Tirani whispered, her voice tense. He moved quickly, pressing himself against the wall, near the doorway. He peeked through the shattered window. A red light moved across the street, scanning, hunting. But this one was different. It was bigger, bulkier, and it wasn't alone. 2 smaller scout drones followed behind it like wolves following a tank. And on the side of the larger one, Eli saw a sigil he didn't recognize, a claw wrapped around a burning crown. Tirani gasped when she saw it. "They found me," she said. "Those aren't standard Zolari drones. That's a purge unit." "A what?" "They weren't sent to rescue me," she said slowly. "They're here to finish what the betrayal started." Eli's stomach dropped. "You mean, they came to kill you?" She nodded. "I wasn't supposed to survive the last battle. If they find me alive, their mission fails." "Great," Eli muttered. "So now we're both targets." The drones paused outside the station. The large one extended 4 long legs and dropped to the ground, scanning the building inch by inch. Eli's hand went to the old blaster he'd scavenged earlier. 1 shot left, maybe 2, and not enough power to bring down something that size. He looked back at Tirani. She was trying to sit up, pain twisting her face. "No," he said. "Stay down. I'll handle this." "You'll die maybe," he said, "but not before I give them hell." The red light swept across the windows. One of the scouts floated up toward the 2nd floor. Eli heard metal scraping across glass and stone. No way out the front. He ran to the back of the building. The emergency hatch was half buried under rubble, but not locked. He began to clear it, fast but quiet. "Can you move?" he called over his shoulder. "Barely," she said. "Then crawl. Because if we stay here, we die." He grabbed her and pulled her toward the hatch. Every breath she took came with a tremble, but she held on. Just as he opened the hatch, the wall behind them exploded. Metal fragments flew everywhere. The scout drone had fired a burst, close, but not a direct hit. Eli covered Tirani with his body, shielding her from the blast. The air filled with heat and dust. He rolled over, coughing. The larger drone was outside now, crawling toward the station with 4 burning eyes focused on the entrance. "Go!" he shouted. Tirani dropped into the tunnel first. Eli followed, slamming the hatch shut just as the main drone fired again. The blast shook the tunnel above, but the walls held. The tunnel was dark, cold, full of old cables and emergency lights. Tirani slumped against the wall. "They won't stop, not until I'm dead." Eli looked at her, anger burning in his chest. "You're not dying down here," he said. "I don't care who ordered it, I'm not letting them take you." "Why?" she asked. He paused. He didn't know the answer himself. Maybe it was because she was left behind. Maybe because no one else cared. Or maybe because he'd been left behind once too. They moved through the tunnels for what felt like hours. The city above groaned and creaked as drones searched for them. More than once, they had to stop and hide as mechanical feet stomped just feet above their heads. "How? Much farther?" Tirani asked weakly. "There's an old hospital bunker ahead," Eli said. "Might still have power. Meds, shelter. But when they reached it, the door was sealed, locked tight. Eli cursed under his breath and slammed his fist against the panel, and then from behind them a new sound echoed in the tunnel. Not a drone, not a machine. Something, breathing, a low, gurgling growl. Eli turned. "What is that?" he whispered. Tirani's eyes widened. "It's not Zolari," she said. "It's worse." From the shadows, something massive moved, tall, hunched, red eyes glowing in the dark. It wasn't sent to kill. It was sent to feed. Secrets in her skin. The creature's breath filled the tunnel like smoke. Eli stood in front of Tirani, shielding her with his body. The monster in the dark took slow, heavy steps. Each one echoed like thunder against the tunnel walls. Its red eyes glowed brighter. "Back," Eli whispered. "Move back now." Tirani was too weak to stand. She crawled behind him, her face pale, her body trembling. The thing growled again. Not like an animal, not like a drone. It was something worse, something built to hunt both, half flesh, half machine. Its skin was torn and burned, wires running across muscles like veins. Its mouth split open sideways, revealing rows of jagged metal teeth. "What is it?" Eli asked, not looking away. Tirani's voice was tight. "A failed weapon, lost during the early wars. It was left behind, forgotten. It's been feeding ever since." "On what?" "Everything." The creature lunged. Eli fired his last shot. The blaster cracked with a blue flash. It struck the creature in the chest, but barely slowed it down. "Run," he shouted. He grabbed Tirani and pulled her through a side path, just as the monster slammed into the wall where they had stood. Debris fell. Metal shrieked. They ran, or tried to. Tirani's body was failing. Her breathing turned sharp and shallow. Her skin glowed faintly with every step, a sign of internal overload. They slipped into a maintenance shaft, hiding behind a wall of rusted pipes. The monster passed by, growling and sniffing. Eli waited, not moving, not even breathing. After several long minutes, the creature moved on, but Tirani collapsed. Her eyes fluttered. Her skin turned dim. "Stay with me," Eli said, holding her. "No, time," she whispered. "Listen, you need to know." She reached for his hand and pulled it toward her chest, just above her heart. He felt it then, a vibration, not a heartbeat, a pulse, mechanical, steady. Eli froze. "What is that?" he asked. She looked at him. The truth. She pulled her armor back. Underneath her skin, near her ribs, was a metallic plate. Small symbols pulsed across it, glowing softly. "What the hell?" "It's the Royal Code Core," she said. "Implanted at birth. Only heirs carry it. It controls access to Zolari weapons, fleets, even worlds." "Why would they leave you behind if you carry that?" "Because I refused to use it to start a war I didn't believe in." She winced in pain. They wanted a ruler who obeyed, not one who questioned. Eli stared at the implant. "So if someone gets this core, they can unlock Zolari control systems, or destroy them. Depends who holds it." He sat back, stunned. "And now they're hunting you, because you still have it." Tirani nodded. "And if I die, they'll cut it out?" Eli felt sick. He looked at her. "What happens if you take it out yourself?" "It kills me," she said simply. They sat in silence. The monster's growl echoed again, this time closer. Eli stood. "We can't stay here." Tirani reached into her armor and pulled out a small chip. It glowed softly, like a spark in the dark. "Take this," she said. "If I die, run. Find the exile fleet, give it to them. You're not dying." Eli, "No," he said, voice hard. "I didn't carry you through hell just to let you die now." She looked at him, surprised, and for the first time she smiled. "Then we need power," she said. "For the core. For my body. There's an energy station 3 levels down. If it still works." Eli helped her up. "Then let's find out." They moved through the tunnels again, this time deeper, colder, darker, machines long, dead-lined. The walls, wires like vines, Old human tech mixed with alien scrap. This place was used during the First Contact War, Tirani said. Humans and Zolari fought here together once, and now we're crawling through its bones, Eli muttered. They found the energy station. It was half buried under collapsed metal, but the core unit still blinked, barely alive. Tirani connected. Her palm to the panel. Her body lit up, soft lines glowing across her skin. Her breathing steadied. Her eyes cleared. That's better, she whispered. Then the lights flickered. A sound came from the back room. Not a growl. Voices. Keep scanning. She's close. The human's with her. Orders say we take his head. Eli looked at Tirani. Her hand clenched his. They're here. We fight? He asked. We run. She powered down the station and they slipped into the vents behind it, just as two Zolari hunters entered the room. Elite soldiers. Tall, armored, fast, but they didn't see them. Not yet. From the vent, Tirani looked back one last time. They'll never stop, she whispered. Eli met her eyes. Then neither will it. The beast of the Barrens. The Barrens were worse than Eli imagined. Miles of broken ground stretched ahead. Cracked stone, rusted wreckage, and dust that clung to his lungs. No sky. Just thick gray clouds rolling like smoke above them. A wasteland. Dead, dry, and dangerous. Eli walked slowly, carrying Tirani over his shoulders. Her body had become heavier, not from weight, but from worry. They had escaped the hunters 2 days ago. Barely. The vents led them out of the city and into the Barrens, an old war zone no one dared enter anymore. Too many stories. Too many bones buried beneath the dust. But Eli had no choice. There were no other paths left. You should have left me, Tirani whispered against his back. Not a chance, Eli muttered. You don't even know where you're going. Doesn't matter. Forward is better than dead. She coughed softly. Forward might still be dead. Yeah, he said. But at least we'll see it coming. They found a ruined tower half buried in sand. It used to be a Zolari outpost. Before, it was bombed to ashes. Inside the air was cooler, darker, safer for now. Eli set her down against the wall. She looked at him with tired eyes. Thank you, she whispered. Don't thank me yet, he said. We're not out of this. He went to check the area. The sand outside had strange tracks, clawed feet, deep and wide, dragging behind them like heavy chains. He didn't like that. He returned to Tirani. We're not alone out here. She looked at the tracks and her face went pale. Eli, she said slowly. Do you know what this place is? Yeah, the middle of nowhere. No, she said. It's where they threw him. Who? The Devourer. The name sent a chill down his spine. Tirani's voice lowered. He was a Zolari general, once loyal, strong, until the Empire betrayed him too. They turned him into a weapon, fed him machines, gave him tech that fused with his body. He went mad. They couldn't kill him, so they dumped him here. Eli swallowed. And you think he's still alive? Tirani looked at the tracks again. I don't think, she said. I know. That night the stars were hidden. The wind howled across the sand like a scream. Eli sat with his back against the wall, blaster in hand, one extra power cell barely charged. Tirani slept beside him, her breathing rough. The glow in her skin had dimmed again. He closed his eyes just for a moment. And then, the ground shook. Not an earthquake. Footsteps. Heavy. Slow. Dragging. Something. Moved outside the tower. Eli woke instantly. He reached for Tirani. We need to go. She nodded weakly, feeling it too. They crept through a broken hatch in the floor, crawling into an old supply tunnel. Dust and darkness swallowed them. The tower above groaned. Then came a sound Eli would never forget. Metal scraping on bone. A roar. Not loud, but deep. Ancient. Full of hunger. The tower exploded. Dust poured into the tunnel. Debris crashed down. Behind them, Eli pulled Tirani forward, running blind through the dark. Something was following them. They heard it breathing, sniffing, growling. And then, it spoke. Princess. Tirani froze. How does it know me? She whispered. Eli gripped her arm. Don't stop. They reached the end of the tunnel. A ladder led to the surface, open air and starlight above. Eli climbed first, helping Tirani up, but before they could escape, a massive hand slammed into the edge of the tunnel, tearing metal apart. A face rose from the dark. No, not a face. Mask, half metal, half rotting flesh, with red eyes that glowed like fire. The Devourer. You smell like command, it said in a voice like breaking glass. You smell like power. Tirani lifted her hand, revealing the royal mark on her wrist. You were Zolari once, she said. You swore to protect us. They left me here, it growled. And now I feed. Eli fired. The shot hit the Devourer in the eye. Sparks flew. It roared and fell back. They climbed faster. Out. Into the cold. Above them, the night sky opened, wide. Stars stretched across the black like wounds in the heavens. Eli and Tirani ran. Behind them, the Devourer smashed through the ground, rising into the open, twice as tall as any human. His arms were weapons, blades fused to bone, his back had engines. Old tech. Forgotten tech. How do we fight that? Eli shouted. We don't, Tirani said. We run to the edge of the ravine. What ravine? Just, trust me, they ran for miles. The ground opened ahead. A canyon. Deep and jagged. Tirani stopped at the edge. Keep going, Eli shouted. No, she said. This is where we make a stand. She lifted her hand, and the implant on her skin glowed bright. You still have power? He asked. Just enough for one last trick. The Devourer charged at them. Tirani activated the signal. The earth beneath the monster exploded. Old Zolari mines, hidden and forgotten. The blast swallowed the beast. Dust filled the sky. Then silence. Eli looked at her, breathless. You planned that? Not really, she said. I just hoped the Empire hadn't cleaned up after itself. He laughed once, then sat down beside her. Remind me never to doubt you again. She smiled, weak but real. I told you. We move for. The frozen wall, the cold came without warning. One moment, the air was dry and full of sand. The next, the wind turned sharp, cutting like blades. Snow fell from a dark sky, landing silently on burned metal and ash-covered bones. Eli stood at the edge of a cliff staring at the world below. The land dropped into a frozen valley, a wasteland of ice and broken glaciers. The only way forward was across it. Behind him, the barrens still burned in the distance. Beside him, Tirani leaned against a rock, wrapped in torn fabric, her face pale and tired. Even with her Zolari blood, the cold drained her quickly. Her skin no longer glowed. We can't go back, Eli said, and we can't stop. She whispered. He nodded. Ahead, beyond the valley, somewhere deep in the ice fields, there was supposed to be a rebel outpost, a hidden place where human survivors and Zolari, exiles, worked together in secret. Tirani believed it was real. Eli wanted to believe it too. But first they had to cross the frozen wall. No food, no working gear, barely any warmth between them, and something followed them in the snow. They built a sled from broken plating and wire. Eli tied it together with straps from his old pack. Tirani lay on it, too weak to walk now. Her chest rose and fell slowly, like each breath was a struggle. We're not far, Eli lied. He pulled the sled across the ice, step by step. Hour after hour, the cold bit into his bones. His fingers cracked. His face burned from the wind. His body screamed to stop. But he kept going, because she needed him to, because no one else would. Sometimes she opened her eyes. Sometimes she mumbled things in her language. Sometimes she didn't move at all. He never stopped looking back to check. The third night, the silence broke. A scream echoed across the snow, far away but not far enough. It didn't sound human, and it didn't sound like a beast. It sounded like something between. Eli crouched low. Tirani stirred beside him. "They're coming," she whispered. "Who?" "The shadows of the Empire. They call them reclaimers." "What do they want?" "The core. And whatever's left of me." Eli gritted his teeth. "They'll have to kill me first." Tirani looked up at him. Her eyes were dull now, but still deep. "They will try," she said. The next day, they found tracks in the snow. Too many, wide circles around them. Not just hunters. A trap. Eli changed course, pulling her toward a glacier ridge. If he could get to higher ground, maybe they could hide. Maybe the storm would cover their trail. The ridge cut into the sky like a blade. He climbed it slowly, dragging the sled behind. When they reached the top, Eli gasped. In the distance, he saw it. Lights, faint, blinking, buried in the snow. The outpost, it was real. But between them and the lights was a wide stretch of flat snow. Too open, too quiet. He felt it before he saw it. The snow behind them exploded. A reclaimer leapt from the white. Tall, armored in bone and black steel, eyes glowing red. It didn't speak. It just moved, fast and deadly. Eli pulled his blade. His blaster had frozen hours ago. He swung. The blade bounced off the reclaimer's armor. It grabbed him by the throat and slammed him into the ground. Hard. "Eli!" Tirani screamed. He kicked, punched, clawed. The reclaimer raised a spike ready to strike. Then Tirani's hand lit up. Her core flickered, weak but alive. She fired a burst of energy, knocking the reclaimer back. It screamed, part machine, part beast, and stumbled. Eli scrambled to his feet. He tackled the creature before it could rise again, slamming a metal rod into its eye. It fell still. Eli looked at her. "How did you do that?" "I don't know," she said, shaking. "I think the core felt your pain." "Great," Eli muttered. "Tell it to feel my hunger too." They moved again. The final stretch. The storm got worse. Snow fell hard. Wind howled. Eli collapsed once, then twice. The third time, Tirani dragged herself from the sled and reached for him. "Get up," she said. "We're close." "I can't." "Yes, you can," she whispered. "Why do you believe in me?" "Because no one else ever did." They reached the gates of the outpost at dawn. Men and women in old rebel armor came running, weapons raised. They hesitated when they saw her, a Zolari. But Eli stood tall even as his legs gave out. "She's with me," he shouted. "You let us in, or she dies. And if she dies, you lose your only chance to stop what's coming." They opened the gates. Just as Eli passed out, he felt her hand squeeze his. "You made it," she whispered. He didn't answer, but he heard her, and he believed her. When death knocked, the outpost was colder inside than it was outside, not because of the weather, but because of the stairs. Humans in patchwork armor, Zolari exiles with old scars and colder eyes. They stood in silence as Tirani was carried in, wrapped in gray blankets, her skin dim and dry. Eli was barely conscious, blood frozen on his lip, clothes torn from the journey, but he didn't let go of her hand, not even once. A medic rushed forward. "He needs help. He's going into frost shock." "Him?" someone growled. "He's the one dragging that Zolari corpse in?" "She's not a corpse," Eli muttered. Then everything went black. When Eli woke, he was on a cot inside a heated bunker. His hands were wrapped, his wounds cleaned. A warm IV pulsed into his arm. It took him a minute to remember where he was, and who wasn't beside him. He sat up fast. "Tirani," a nurse ran over. "Stop. Don't pull your line out." "Where is she?" The nurse hesitated. "The council is discussing her status." "She's not a weapon," Eli said. "She's not a threat. She's..." A royal, the nurse cut in. And royals brought this war. Eli stood anyway, shaky but burning with purpose. He stormed out into the hall. The rebel council chamber was deep underground. Guards blocked the door. But when they saw Eli, something in his eyes made them step aside. Inside, Tyranny stood weakly at the center of the room, still trembling from the cold, her core flickering with light. Rebels surrounded her, weapons drawn. An old human commander pointed at her. "You are the daughter of the Zolari bloodline. Why should we not destroy you where you stand?" Tyranny didn't flinch. "Because I'm the only one who can stop what's coming next," she said calmly. "What's coming?" "A purge wave," she said. "My brother has taken the throne, and he's using the Empire's deepest weapons, AI-controlled planet burners. No army, no soldiers, just fire." The room went silent. "And you expect us to believe you'd betray your own kind?" another counselor asked. Tyranny looked at them. "I already did." They stared. "My brother left me for dead because I refused to activate the Master Core. He believes only obedience is strength. He doesn't understand that mercy is stronger." Then Eli stepped into the room. "She carried that belief through hell," he said, "and I carried her through it because of that." The commander narrowed his eyes. "And why would a human risk everything for an alien royal?" Eli walked beside her. "Because she's more human than most of you." Suddenly, a boom echoed across the base. Lights flickered, alarms screamed. Soldier rushed in. "Sir, unidentified drop pods just broke through the ice. Something big, headed for the core vault." "How many?" "One. But it's not a soldier. It's something else." Tyranny turned pale. "It's him," she said. "Who?" Eli asked. She looked at him. "My brother sent the executioner." The room froze. "You mean the Warforged Titan?" the commander asked. Tyranny nodded. "He's not here to take prisoners. He's here to erase me, and anyone who helped me." Seconds later, the ceiling trembled, the walls cracked, and through the smoke and ice, something massive stepped through the hallway doors. 12 feet tall, armored in dark obsidian. Half machine, half shadow, its eyes burned like suns. The executioner. Without a word, it raised its weapon, a beam blade that shimmered with red energy. The rebels fired. Bullets bounced off its armor. One swing, and the chamber wall shattered. Screams. Chaos. Eli grabbed Tyranny and pulled her behind cover. "How do we stop that?" he shouted. "We don't," she said. "But I can?" "What do you mean?" "I still have the core signal," she said. "I can override his orders, but it will burn the last energy I have." Eli grabbed her face. "You'll die, and if I don't, we all die." He stared at her. Then slowly, he nodded. She stepped out into the open. Her skin glowed, brighter than ever. The executioner paused for a moment. It trembled. Tyranny raised her hand. "Stand down," she commanded. The Titan froze. She took another step forward, her voice shaking. "You were built to protect the Empire, but the Empire betrayed me, like it betrayed you." Its blade lowered. "Listen, to your heart," she whispered. "Not your code." The Titan's lights flickered. Its blade fell to the ground with a crash. Then it turned to the rebels and knelt. Everyone watched in shock. Tyranny fell to her knees too, gasping. Eli ran to her, holding her tight. "Did it work?" She smiled weakly. "He's free now." "And you?" Her hand touched his face. "I'm still here. For now." Outside, the snow had stopped, but something new was coming, and now the rebels were ready. Because one human had carried a royal through death itself, and death had bowed to them both. The princess who chose humanity days passed after the battle. The rebel outpost no longer whispered of fear. The soldiers walked taller. The alarm stayed silent. And outside, the snow finally melted under the first warm wind in years. But deep, beneath the base in the recovery chamber, two lives still hung in quiet balance. Eli sat beside Tyranny's bed. Her eyes were closed. Her breathing was shallow. The glow beneath her skin, once bright like fire, now flickered like dying light. The medics had done all they could. Her body had burned nearly all its core energy when she stopped the executioner. She gave too much, one of them had said. But Eli didn't believe that. "You're still here," he whispered, holding her hand. "You didn't give up in the barrens. Not in the tunnels, not in the ice. You're not giving up now." He hadn't left her side once. He refused to. Outside the room, the rebel council met again. The commander stood at the head of the table reading the latest reports. "Solari fleets are moving," he said. "Her brother is sending purgers to known exile zones. One by one, he's clearing out all opposition. And if he finds out she's alive, he'll come for her with everything he has." "What about the human?" someone asked. "Eli," the commander paused. "We watched him carry her through the worst hell we've ever seen," he said. "I've never seen loyalty like that." He looked toward the medical wing. "We owe her our lives, and we owe him our faith." That night, something changed. A pulse of light filled the recovery room. Tirani gasped and opened her eyes. Eli jumped from his chair. "You're awake," he breathed. Her lips moved slowly. "Eli, yeah, I'm here." "We made it?" He nodded, smiling through tears. "You brought me back," she said softly. "No," he replied. "You never left." She reached up and touched his face. "There's something I need to ask you." He leaned closer. "When you looked at me, after all the pain, after all the death, did you still see an alien?" Eli shook his head. "No, I saw you." "What did you see in me?" "Someone who bled for peace. Someone who believed in people, even when they didn't believe in themselves." She smiled. "Then I choose them," she whispered. "I choose your people, your world, your fight, Tirani. I will not be their princess," she said. "Not to an empire that leaves its own behind." Eli sat beside her. "Then what will you be?" She looked at him, eyes deep and soft. "Something new," she said. "Someone who chooses her path. Someone who chooses you." The next morning she walked into the council chamber, weak but alive. Everyone stood. "I know what you fear," she said, "and I know what hunts us, but I also know the Empire's weakness." They listened. They believe strength comes from bloodlines, from fear, from force. They're wrong. Strength comes from unity, from trust, from a human who carries a wounded enemy across fire, ice, and death without asking for anything in return. We don't need to fight like them. We fight for each other. The room was silent. Then slowly, applause. A week later, the plan was set. Tirani led the mission, not as a princess, but as a rebel, a symbol of hope. She and Eli stood together on the launch deck. The executioner, now free of Empire control, stood at their side like a giant shadow of loyalty. "This is insane," Eli said, strapping on his gear. "It's always insane," Tirani said, smiling. "You sure you're ready?" "I was born for war," she said, "but I'm choosing something better." "And what's that?" "To live, to fight, and to love." Eli blinked. "Wait, are you saying—" She kissed him, soft, brief, but full of everything they had shared: pain, survival, trust. When she pulled back, her eyes glowed, not with power, but with purpose. "Let's end this." Their ship launched into the sky. Behind them, the outpost prepared for war. Ahead, the Empire watched from high orbit, waiting for submission. What they got instead was rebellion, born from two hearts, one human, one alien, but both unstoppable.